The grandfather clock in the hallway chimed 11 times as Kavya finished washing the dinner dishes. Her husband Rajesh had left for his business trip that morning, and the house felt unusually quiet without his presence. At 28, she had grown accustomed to these solo evenings, but tonight felt different somehow. "Kavya, auntie, are you still awake?" came a familiar voice from the kitchen doorway. She turned to see Vikram, her husband's 25-year-old nephew, standing there, with his signature warm smile. He'd been staying with them for the past month while completing his engineering internship in the city. What had started as a temporary arrangement had become surprisingly comfortable. Vikram was respectful, helpful around the house, and treated her with the kind of genuine care that reminded her why she'd always been fond of him. "Of course, Beta. Did you eat?" "I saved some kheer for you," Kavya said, drying her hands on the kitchen towel. "You always take such good care of me," Vikram said, his voice carrying a warmth that made Kavya's heart flutter unexpectedly. "Uncle is so lucky to have you." Kavya felt heat rise to her cheeks at the compliment. "Don't be silly. You're family." As she served him the kheer, Vikram watched her movements with an intensity that made her suddenly self-conscious. She was wearing a simple cotton sari, nothing fancy, but the way his eyes followed her made her feel beautiful in a way she hadn't experienced in years. "Kavya, auntie," Vikram said quietly, "can I ask you something personal?" She settled across from him at the kitchen table, noting how the dim lighting cast shadows across his handsome features. "What is it? Are you happy? I mean, really happy?" The question caught her off guard. "What kind of question is that?" "I've been living here for a month, and I see how Uncle treats you. He barely talks to you, barely notices you. You deserve so much better." Kavya's heart started beating faster. "Vikram, you shouldn't say things like that." "Why not, if it's true?" He leaned forward slightly, his dark eyes earnest. "You're incredible, Kavya auntie. You're beautiful, kind, intelligent. Any man would be crazy not to worship the ground you walk on." "He called me beautiful," Kavya thought, her pulse quickening. When was the last time Rajesh had called her beautiful? "You're being too kind," she whispered, unable to meet his intense gaze. "I'm being honest." Vikram reached across the table and gently touched her hand. "You deserve to be cherished." The simple touch sent electricity shooting up Kavya's arm. She should have pulled away. She knew she should have. But instead she found herself looking into Vikram's eyes, drowning in their warmth and sincerity. "Vikram," she breathed, not sure what she was trying to say. "I know this is wrong," he said softly, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. "I know you're my aunt. I know you're married. But I can't help the way I feel about you." Kavya's rational mind screamed warnings, but her heart was pounding with a mixture of fear and forbidden excitement. "We can't. This isn't—" "I think about you constantly," Vikram confessed, his voice rough with emotion. "The way you smile when you're cooking, the way you hum old songs when you think no one's listening. I think about what it would be like to hold you, to make you feel as special as you are." Kavya pulled her hand away, standing up abruptly. "Stop. Please stop talking like this." But Vikram stood too, moving around the table until he was standing close enough that she could smell. His cologne could see the rapid pulse at his throat. "Tell me you don't feel anything," he challenged gently. "Tell me I'm imagining this connection between us." Kavya closed her eyes, overwhelmed. Because the truth was, she did feel something. For weeks, she'd been noticing things about Vikram. His kindness, his attention, the way he made her laugh. She'd been telling herself it was just gratitude, just the natural affection between family members. But standing here now with him so close, she couldn't deny the attraction that had been building. "It doesn't matter what I feel," she whispered. "You're my husband's nephew. I'm 10 years older than you. This is impossible." "Age is just a number," Vikram said, stepping even closer. "And uncle, he doesn't deserve you." Before Kavya could respond, Vikram's hands came up to cup her face with infinite tenderness. "Let me show you how a woman should be treated." "Vikram, no." But even as she protested, Kavya found herself leaning into his touch. "Just once," he whispered, his lips inches from hers. "Let me kiss you just once." Time seemed suspended as they stared at each other, both trembling on the edge of crossing a line that could never be uncrossed. Kavya's heart was beating so loudly she was sure he could hear it. This is madness, she thought. He's practically a child. He's family. But as Vikram's thumb traced her lower lip with heartbreaking gentleness, all her rational thoughts scattered, like leaves in the wind. "You're so beautiful," he breathed, and then his lips were on hers. The kiss was soft at first, tentative and questioning. But when Kavya's lips parted on a sigh, Vikram deepened it, pouring months of suppressed longing into the contact. His hands tangled in her hair as she kissed him back, lost in sensations she'd forgotten existed. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard and staring at each other in shock. "Oh God," Kavya whispered, touching her lips with trembling fingers. "What have we done?" "Something that's been building for weeks," Vikram replied, his voice hoarse. "Something that felt more right than anything else in my life. This was a mistake. A terrible mistake." Kavya backed away from him, wrapping her arms around herself protectively. "Was it?" "Because it felt like the most honest thing either of us has done in a long time." "Honest?" Kavya's voice rose slightly. "Vikram, I'm married to your uncle. This isn't honest. It's betrayal. He betrays you every day by taking you for granted," Vikram said quietly. "By treating you like you're invisible." The truth of his words hit Kavya like a physical blow. Because he was right. Rajesh had been taking her for granted for years, treating her more like a housekeeper than a wife. "That doesn't make this right," she said weakly. Vikram moved closer again, and despite her protests, Kavya didn't step away. "Maybe not, but it makes it real. Kavya, I'm falling in love with you." The confession shattered the last of Kavya's composure. "Don't say that. Please don't say that." "Why not?" "It's true. I love your laugh, your kindness, the way you make this house feel like a home. I love everything about you." Tears spilled down Kavya's cheeks. "We can't do this. Think about the family, the scandal." "I don't care about scandal. I care about you." Just as Vikram reached for her again, just as Kavya felt herself weakening, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway made them both freeze. "Uncle's home," Vikram whispered, his face pale. Kavya's blood turned to ice. Rajesh wasn't supposed to return until tomorrow. They could hear his key in the front door, his footsteps in the hallway. "Act normal," she whispered frantically, smoothing her sari and trying to compose herself. But as Rajesh's voice called out from the living room, Kavya knew that nothing would ever be normal again. She'd crossed a line tonight, felt things she wasn't supposed to feel, wanted things she couldn't have. And as she looked at Vikram's tormented face, she realized that their forbidden kiss had changed everything. There would be no going back to the way things were, no pretending that the attraction between them didn't exist. The boundary she'd believed in, the sacred trust of family, had been shattered by one unexpected moment of passion. And now she had to live with the consequences of loving the wrong person at the wrong time. The question that haunted her as she went to greet her husband was simple but devastating. What happens when the heart wants what it cannot have?